There is a word. There is a word. That word comes to us today from the Gospel according to John. I'm going to read the entire passage, but the emphasis is going to be on the first part of the 11th verse of chapter 10. In chapter 10, verses 11 through 18, you find the words of the text. And I'll be reading from the New International Version. John, Gospel according to John, chapter 10, verses 11 through 18. He said, I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. The hired hand is not the shepherd who owns the sheep. So when he sees the wolf coming, he abandons the sheep and runs away. Then the wolf attacks the flock and scatters it. The man runs away because he's a hired hand and cares nothing for the sheep. I am the good shepherd. I know my sheep, and my sheep know me. Just as the Father knows me, and I know the Father, I lay down my life for the sheep. I have other sheep that are not of this sheep pen. I must bring them also. They too will listen to my voice, and there shall be one flock and one shepherd. The reason my Father loves me is that I lay down my life, only to take it up again. No one takes it from me, but I lay it down of my own accord. I have authority to lay it down and authority to take it up again. This command I received from my Father. God bless his word. From that passage and with emphasis on verse 11:8, I am the good shepherd. That's what I want to talk about today. I am the good shepherd. Part 4 of this series on the I am sayings of the gospel of Jesus in the Gospel of John. If we want a subtopic or subtitle to that, it would be today, Jesus the Rescuer. Jesus the Rescuer. No matter who you are, where you've been, or what you've done, God loves you. The first sermon in this series was, I am the bread of life. The second sermon was, I am the light of the world. The third sermon in the series was, I am the door. Today, as I've already stated, I'm going to be talking about I am the good shepherd. And as we walk through this topic together, I want you to check and see. I want you to pay attention. Check and see if we're talking about the Jesus that you think you know. Check and see if we're going to be talking about the Jesus that you think you know. There are a lot of misconceptions floating around about Jesus and who he really is. Many people believe that Jesus came into human history with one agenda. They believe that he came to tell us just how bad we've been and how unworthy we are of God's grace and mercy. This is the way so many people think about Jesus. They don't see the Jesus who came to the earth because of love. They don't see Jesus, the miracle worker. They can't relate to the Jesus who heals the sick and ministers to people in need. They don't identify with Jesus, the Savior of the world who died for the sins of all humanity. Emphasis being on that word all. Jesus died for everybody. I don't care how bad he still died for them. It's just for us to appropriate what he did. On the other hand, these folk have not seen, who have not heard about that Jesus. They've heard about the Jesus who condemns. They've heard countless times about the Jesus who looks at them and says, you're not good enough. They've experienced rejection, and they blame Jesus, who in their opinion was too busy, too important, too holy to be concerned about them and their situation. It's sad, but it's true. Too many people think that Jesus only came to earth to tell us about how much wrong we're doing, to highlight our failures and flaws, and to guilt trip us into doing something good. And that something good is usually to be done for a church. How many of, I know nobody here has ever been guilty of doing it, but how many of you have experienced somebody going to somebody who was not in the church saying, you ought to give something to the church because you owe it to God, because God is the one letting you up and be out here acting the fool? Y'all, somebody missed that. Somebody missed that. How many times have we tried to guilt trip? And when we do that, we're not stopping to think that we're helping to feed into a wrong conception about Jesus in the minds of people, because many people think that this Jesus, this God that we serve, is only concerned about getting us because we do wrong. Have you had those feelings yourself? Maybe it was when you failed at something, you came up short in some area of your personal life. I'm talking about those areas where we find ourselves involved in something that we know we shouldn't be involved in. We get caught up, and then we sit there feeling angry and disappointed with ourselves. What do you think about Jesus then? Do you think of Jesus as being beside you with his hand on your shoulder and saying, it's going to be okay, I understand? Or do you have the view that Jesus is looking down from heaven saying, I'm going to get you something. I'm going to pay you back big time. Anybody ever felt like that? People have a messed up view of Jesus. Believe it or not, Christians often have a messed up view of Jesus too. This Jesus condemns you mentality is not even close to the truth about Jesus. In his own words, Jesus tells us that view is not correct. All you have to do is read John chapter 3:16. God loved the world. These are the words of Jesus. God loved the world so much that he gave his one and only Son, so that whoever believes in him may not be lost, but have eternal life. And Jesus said, God did not send his Son into the world to judge the world guilty, but to save the world through him. Jesus didn't come here to condemn all of us to hell. You figured it out over these 20-some years that I've been here. I don't talk much about hell. One reason I don't talk much about hell is because nobody believe in it no more. The other reason I don't talk too much about hell is because I want folk to love the Lord and come to the Lord because they love him for who he is, and not because they're scared of going to hell. Because if we get them in because they're scared, once they become comfortable enough with him and don't be scared of him anymore, they'll stop living right. We need to have folk loving the Lord, doing what the Lord says, paying their tithes, giving their service, giving their time, because that's what they want to do, and not because they're scared not to do it. Even though we have the words of Jesus affirming to us that he didn't come to condemn us, many people still hold on to that incorrect, messed up view. They hold on to it so closely that it keeps them from experiencing a full and mature relationship with God. Even when we are confronted with the very words of Jesus expressing love and forgiveness, some people still refuse to embrace those words. And the question is, why do they find it so hard to accept